We're back with another top 5 comps for you to try for TFT, and after an exhausting week of Zed slicing up your backline carry, the B patch of 12.23 shifts things into a more AP focused direction. We're going to jump straight into it with the magic orbs. They are not only decorating the Christmas tree this time around, it is also the meta. A combination of Spellslinger and Star Guardians like Taliyah, Annie, Janna, Syndra, Echo, Yuumi, Lux and Alistar can't be missed on Christmas Eve. As a default leveling comp, you want to level up at a regular pace and stabilize at level 7 by finding a copy of your main carry Taliyah and Echo to activate the next ceiling of Star Guardians. In stage 5, you'll be pushing for level 8, completing your board but upgrading your carries to 2-star. This comp is all about your Taliyah. Since we're playing 5 Star Guardians, you'll gain enough mana, so itemization in this comp consists mostly of damage. Giant Slayer, Rabadon's Deathcap, and Hexed Gunblade are going to be what you're looking for here ideally. Annie is your second most important unit Spellslinger wise and also a tank, so send everything defensive her way. She'll be able to solo in the front line. You want a Gargoyle Stoneplate first, then Warmog's Armor and something like a Bramble's Vest to finish. When it comes to augments, any Taliyah or Annie hero ones are by far your best choice, but then you've got Burning Spirit, Stoneweaver, any mana augments that will help all Star Guardians like Blue Battery too. Let's continue this with our only AD comp on our list, which you may still remember, and that is the Avengers. These are not temporary heroes, they are here to stay. With the monsters everywhere in set 8, you're going to need Aphelios, Samira, Alistar, Echo, Janna, Leona, Urgot, and Zoe. Unlike all of the others in this video, this is a fast 8 comp, so that means basically you save up gold and health early by going on a win streak, and then you level up aggressively and you slam whatever items together you can. Your most important units are going to be Aphelios, Samira and Alistar. Aphelios wants Ginzu's Rageblade first, then Last Whisper and a Giant Slayer ideally. As for his ultimate choice, since heavy frontline carries like Mecha Brawler Jax were nerfed in this patch, you now want to be using your first spell mainly. That one's called Duskwave. For your main tank, Alistar, you'll be looking at items like Warmog's Armor, ZZ Rock Portal, Dragon's Claw, anything like that. Lastly, we have Samira. Ideally, she wants similar items to your main carry, but you can throw just about anything left over with damage onto her. Playing a fast 8 comp with so many high cost units will not be easy, but if you want to always know which hero augments to pick or items to take, you can check out our free set 8 overlay and bring this comp guide into your game. A couple of examples of good augment choices though are high-end shopping and level up. They'll let you hit those legendary 5 cost units faster than any others. For hero augments, of course, you should always grab Aphelios or Samira if you find them, but since the odds of seeing those are not that likely, you can also opt for Echo's Chrono Break or Alistar for the extra utility. Next up, we have a comp that your heart, we mean love. Heart Zoe is a comp that, you guessed it, turns Zoe into a heart unit. You'll play her alongside other strong utility and heart units like Annie, Soraka, Echo, Alistar, LeBlanc, Yuumi, and Lulu. Now this comp is going to spike really hard in the mid game because of its perfect synergy with your main carry, but to build a winning board, you want to slow roll at level 7 to hit Zoe 3-star. Speaking of Zoe, as your main carry, and especially in a comp like this, you really need that heart emblem. She is the best unit to turn into a heart since she has low mana cost, and the heart trait gains allies stacking ability power when heart units cast. In combination with blue buff and Morellonomicon, you'll build a really strong team that generates AP all day. Your secondary carry is going to be your frontliner Annie. As a tank, she only wants defensive items to stall the fight as long as possible, so again, great choices are Gargoyle Stoneplate, Warmog's Armor, and Bramble Vest. Lastly, there is actually also Soraka, who you want to use for everything left over. Ideally, you will give her 1 mana item and then some damage, but you should only use tier or rod components on her when you already have the items for Zoe. For your augments, the choice is pretty obvious as this comp is built around Zoe, so if you see her as a carry or support augment, that would be your first thought. The same goes for having a heart crest or heart crown, as they guarantee you that heart emblem on Zoe without having to worry about finding a spatula. Now another S tier comp this patch is pretty flexible, which is Void Meteors. Threat so far has felt a little bit under the radar. The monsters Aurelion Sol and Bel'Veth though are causing chaos in this comp. Unfortunately, there is no Void Mother and no Meteor Showers though without the help of Sejuani, Janna, Echo, Alistar, Vi, and Gallia around them. It is another default leveling comp, meaning you want to stabilize with a copy of your main carries Aurelion Sol and Bel'Veth in stage 4, and then ideally you want to find all your remaining 4 cost Echo, Sejuani before going going to level 8. The main reason for playing this comp though is because it is so flexible. Aurelion Sol is your AP carry who wants 1 mana item and 2 AP items, so Spear of Shojin, Giant Slayer, Rabadon's Death Cap are good examples. The other 4-cost threat, Bel'Veth, is your AD carry who can wear anything that is made out of a sword or a bow. Best in slot is going to be Bloodthirster, Titan's Resolve and Last Whisper. Lastly, we have Sejuani, who functions as your main tank. The only thing you need from her is to cast her ultimate, which is why all of your belts should go onto her, with Warmogs being the top priority. Now for augments, you should definitely pick up an Aurelion Sol or Bel'Veth hero augments like Extinction Event or Void Mother for more frontline. Whenever you play threats though, you should always look out for the high roller augment, as a loaded dice on a threat unit will always result in a shop full of threat. Now, lastly, if you enjoy cheering up your board during PvP fights, then the Mascots are for you, and that joke is not mine. Unlike Laser Supers, which uses Ashe as an AD carry, this comp uses a main AP carry with Yuumi alongside Mascots and Supers. So your team will be Yuumi, Galio, Nunu, Alice and Nasus, and the Super Trio Malphite, Lee Sin and Gangplank. Whenever you play Supers, your primary focus should be to get as many 3-star units as you can, so you go on a full 5 loss streak, save as much gold as possible in the early game, and then level up to 6 at stage 3-2. That's where the fun begins really. You want to stabilize by upgrading your board to 2-star units and then save up again so that you can start to slow roll over and over with your gold. Yuumi is the main carry and AP item holder of the comp, but first things first, make sure you get her a blue buff. That's because she'll start one-shotting enemies within the item threshold, so she gains back more mana. Then you go for a full damage build with Giant Slayer and a Jeweled Gauntlet. The second carries in this comp are going to be either Galio, Malphite or Lee Sin. It actually doesn't really matter who will become the main tank as long as you took them all to 3 stars. A good rule of thumb is to throw all defensive items on the unit that you're probably going to 3-star first. As for your augments, any Yuumi hero augments are instant picks, especially her carry augment Predatory Precision. That's because it will make her ult crit, so that you can replace her Jeweled Gauntlet for a sustain item like a Hand of Justice or a Hextech Gunblade. Malphite's Guardian Spirit support augment is also actually insane in a full mascot comp, as your team will restore tons of health with every cast. Lastly, any form of featherweights is also a really good choice, as you'll mainly run 1 and 2 cost units. So that is going to wrap up our top 5 comps you have to play from our challenger experts, and remember you can follow along with any of these guys in game with our overlay, and there'll be a link down in the description below. Let us know what you're playing and check out all of the other comps that we have on our website. They are updated daily. Link is down in the description.